Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Just wanted to take a minute and give you some tips on how to survive extreme winter weather. Here in Texas, we just got blasted with a solid week below freezing and had lots of pool damage as a result of it. So just want to take a minute and give you some quick tips on how to protect yourself and your equipment in the event that you have an extended freeze. Okay, now at this property, probably the thing that saved them, they didn't have any damage in this freeze, but you notice the enclosure that they put around their pool equipment. It's not even fully enclosed. They did leave plenty of room to access the equipment and work on it, but just having some sort of shelter around the pool really protects it from the winter weather. So the first thing we want to do is turn off the power. Now most people think you just turn the power off and that solves it. The problem is most of the pools are protected by some sort of freeze protection. So if the temperature gets below freezing, in this case, this one's set to about 36, it will come back on. So we need to actually go find the breaker panel that sends power to this. Once we've located the breaker panel, we've just turned that off, and that will completely turn the power off to all the pool equipment, and there's no chance it will come on once it freezes. Now that the power is completely off, we just need to drain the water out of every piece of equipment. This would be the heater in this case. You see the pipes going in, there is water inside of that. This is the salt cell, the main pool pump, it's also full of water. The booster pump that runs the cleaner is full of water, and the filter. All of these devices are filled with water and need to be drained in order to protect them in the event of a freeze. So let's start with the heater. If you'll notice the pipes coming in the front, you're going to have a drain plug either on the side or right underneath the manifold. Usually they're loose enough to get with by hand, and you'll notice you can hear the air entering the pipe. You can hear all the water trickling out. And then also on all heaters, they have a second plug on the back side, so be sure you pull the second one. We had a lot of people that drained the first one, but they failed to get the back one and they ended up with damage on their heater. So locate the other side of the heater, and there will be maybe a panel that you have to take off. In this case, there's a little peephole. You can also see another plug that just unscrews and will come out of there. And if you drop it, try not to do that. Very difficult to retrieve it. The heater is draining, so now we'll move to the main pool pump. And yours will look something like this. Most of the plugs are on the front at the bottom, and often there'll be another one on the side. In this case, there's one right here. So we just unscrew that. On this particular pump, there's also a second plug. It's kind of hidden. It's back behind the pot, and it is a little more difficult to get out, but with a little bit of work, you can get it out as well, and it will drain just the same. So what I like to do is take the basket, and then it's a great place to store all the plugs that you're pulling out. And we'll move to the next pump in line. Again, all of the plugs are at the bottom, so we'll drain it. And again, the water will come out. Put the plug in the pot. Okay, now the big one is the filter. If you have a Pentair filter, there is a drain on the bottom, and you can reach down there and unscrew that by hand. It's very difficult to get out and get in, so the quick way to do it is break the collars loose. Now it may be tight, and in that case just get you a good pair of channel locks and you can use that to break it loose. And once those are open, release the valve, air on top. You'll hear the water begin to drain out. You'll see it push more water out of your pumps. All that's good. And then it's quite heavy, so give it just a minute or two to drain so that you can easily move it. And once enough water is out, you just kind of rock it back and forth and let that sucker drain. You can tip it forward to get more of the water out. The object is to get as much water out of the filter, out of all the equipment as you possibly can. We had a lot of these salt cells that froze. So once you get that loose, kind of open it up, push it down, make sure all the water is out, and then just button it back up loosely. If you're trying to drain your equipment and the water just keeps coming, it may be that your pool equipment is below the water level of the pool. We call this flooded equipment, which means that the water level of the pool is higher than the pool equipment, so gravity is just constantly going to force it to it. But if you do want to shut it off, be careful. These gate valves have the word off on them, and the object is to stop the water flow into the pump. We can't turn the valve that goes to the spa because we would then drain the spa if you have an elevated spa. So we would just go to the very next pipe in the run, which would be this one. And the valve has a breaker or a stop which won't let you turn it back this direction. So loosen the holding screw, pull it out just a little, and then you'll be able to turn that valve, which will stop the water from going into the main pump and allow you to drain that equipment. The next step would be, once everything's drained, some of the pipes we found hold a little bit of water depending on the water level of your swimming pool. So it's best to go ahead and maybe throw a blanket, a tarp over this exterior plumbing. Anything that's down low to the ground like that still has a tendency to freeze when it gets extremely cold. I hope that helps you out a bunch, and good luck getting through this winter.